The care economy is often ignored in India's political discourse. But things are changing for good. Several political parties are promising measures for the caregiving ecosystem. But what exactly is care economy? And why does it matter to India? We tell you that and a lot more in our next report. Take a look.
India is rising on the economic stage, but there's a lot of ground that it needs to cover in the care economy. The International Labour Organization defines care economy as activities and relationships that address the physical, psychological and emotional needs of people. Caregiving inside and outside the home supports the labour force, which is essential for economic output. But in developing countries like India, the care economy is often underestimated, unpaid and is overwhelmingly run by women. Hence, it is often difficult to evaluate its true economic worth. One estimate, however, suggests that the care economy contributes at least 7.5% to India's GDP. However, the government spends less than 1% of GDP on strengthening the caregiving infrastructure. Underinvesting in the care economy also threatens women workers, who find little time to upskill themselves. But things are slowly changing. Political parties across the ideological spectrum are looking at the issue with an eye on the women vote bank. While they do not directly talk of the care economy, their promises can indirectly aid caregivers. The Congress and the two Dravidian parties in Tamil Nadu promise various financial entitlements to women. The DMK, one of the two Dravidian parties, also promises a law to ensure minimum wages for domestic workers. The CPIM, which runs the government in Kerala, pitches for universal healthcare and a social security law for unorganized workers. The Congress, India's largest opposition party, also promises to double the salaries of Anganwadi and Asha workers. The ruling Bharatiya Janata Party seeks to expand the Lakhpati Didi scheme, which provides interest-free loans to women. The party also promises to expand the Ayushman Bharat scheme with a special focus on women's health. Its manifesto focuses on developing infrastructure like hostels and creches to boost women's participation in the workforce. One estimate suggests that a well-funded caregiving ecosystem can generate 11 million jobs, support women workers and increase GDP by 60%. Incentivizing the care economy directly or indirectly can act as an economic force multiplier. But political parties need to move beyond their manifesto and ensure strong policies that protect and improve India's care economy. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
Joining us on the broadcast today for more on this, Mithali Nikore, economist and founder of Nikore Associates. Mithali, what factors have rendered India's care economy underfunded and underestimated?
First of all, thank you so much for having me and, for highlighting this issue and having this discussion. I'd like to say that our think tank, Nikore Associates, we've been working closely with the Ministry of Women and Child Development and also with the Confederation of Indian Industries, with FICCI and many other industry associations over the last, 2 to 3 years to understand the issues of the care economy, quantify, some of the pointers you mentioned. And our first finding has been that India's care economy stands between 15 to 17% of GDP. Because when we look at the notional economic value of women's unpaid care work, that comes between 15 to 17% of GDP, which is actually more than even the contribution of the manufacturing sector to GDP. And of course, some of the reasons, why, as you asked, why has this situation arisen? Why do we have these kind of gender gaps? See, in India, women are performing almost 8 times the amount of unpaid care work as men because of social norms and social conditioning and patriarchal structures. And over the decades, women have been looked at as primary caregivers, the primary people within the household who are providing domestic work services, who are providing childcare, who are providing elder care. And I think it's time that we start to look at, how these responsibilities can be more equally divided
Right.
within the household and then move out.
Mitali, why do you think care economy is so important for India, and how does it impact the demography?
So I think the most important contribution that the care economy can make in the Indian context is employment generation. Today, when we're looking at a few sectors which are highly labor intensive, the care economy actually tops that list. Every single person needs care at some point in their life. I mean, you need childcare, then after a few years, you'll need healthcare, and then you'll need elder care. And the population of elderly persons in India is also growing. Today it's 10% of the population. By 2050 it'll be 20% of the population, and at the same time the number of children will not reduce. We already have a care burden of almost 440 million children in the country, of different ages. And a mother's childcare responsibility today is starting from 0 to 18 years. So, in this context, if we can start to build economic systems like childcare systems, elder care systems, and systems for highly dependent adults, we can not only have a more productive society, but we can also generate millions of jobs, 70% of which would go to women, and increase the women's labor force participation rate.
Right. Mitali, if we look at the larger perspective, what more can the government and the private sector do together to rectify India's care economy?
So I think, at this point in time, the government, first of all, has been very, very supportive of this agenda. I mean, overall, we've had a lot of leadership from the minister herself. Honorable Minister Smriti Irani has been at the forefront of leading the initiatives around the care economy. And there are 5 pillars of measures that we've recommended, to the ministry, which the ministry is currently considering. The first is around having more leave policies, not only maternity leave, but looking at parental leave and paternity leave so that, we can bridge the gaps there. Then there is around subsidies for care services. I mean, providing tax breaks, providing some subsidies for availing care services. The third is around having public-private partnerships for setting up care infrastructure, be it creches, be it multi-generational care homes, be it elderly facilities. Fourth is around the skill training of care workers. I mean, a lot of care workers require that training from, start to finish, and also to create a structure for them to have better wages and better working conditions. And the fifth is around quality standards for care. A lot of countries have audits on this, and India also needs to.
Mitali Nikor, thank you so much for joining us and giving us your insights on the most talked about topic. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.